That was terrible. I'm going to do that again. That's a lot more manly. Welcome to chapter 47 of Memoirs of a White Guy. And that's it this week. There's no synonyms. It's just Memoirs of a White Guy. There's no fancy way of saying it. Because I was about to start the podcast and I was like, I have to look up some synonyms for memoirs or white guy. And then I was like, no, I don't. Who says I have to do that? I just started doing it. Like, there's no law, there's no rule that says, you must always start a podcast with a shit meme. I mean, I did the whole squeaky cough. That's enough this week. I feel like that's sufficient for, starting the podcast as shit as usual. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to do it. I put my foot down this week on myself. I was like, you know what, Luke? Because that's it. I've started doing that these days. Do you guys ever do that? Just literally someone asks you to do something or you go, I've got to do that. And then you go, no, I don't. Why do I have to do that? I was going to do it. I should do it. Even like sometimes it'd be a nice thing to do it, but you just be selfish and go, no. Like at work, people are just like, oh, Luke, you've got to go lock up the thing. And I'm like, no, I don't. And then people can't compute it. When you don't go and do something, they just go, right. That's how I realize people you don't have to do these things. So say if someone asks you, hey, Luke, you have to clean up after yourself. If you spill a bit of milk, you've got to clean up the milk. You don't have to. You can actually just leave the milk there. That is possible. Like, it's one of the possible options you could go down after spilling the milk. It's just frowned upon. But it doesn't mean you can't do it. I think people always go, I spilled the milk, I have to clean it up. Not at all. I mean, you can cry over spilt milk. That's another option. That was a shit joke. It wasn't even a joke. That was just like I just put in a saying and then tried to pass it off as humor. I just included a common saying in a sentence and went, you guys get it? There's nothing to get. Anyway, I've just been an asshole pretty much. Like this week, I've just started not doing things. You guys should try it. Just don't do things. If someone's like, do that, and then you just go, no. And then they go, right. And then usually the other person ends up doing it. I mean, yes, you'll probably lose some friends in the process. I don't know, but think about how much free time you'll have just not doing things or doing other things instead of not doing... Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, right, yeah, because I didn't want to do the synonyms. But I don't know. I've had a weird week. I don't know what I'm doing. I got to hang out with rich people this week. That was the thing. And by the way, I hate rich people. Like, if you're rich, chances are I hate you. I mean, thank you for listening to this podcast. But if you have more money than me, which is like most people, I'm probably going to hate you. That's why I don't really like people. I mean, I don't hate you as a person. I just hate everything you represent. And I also hate you a little bit as a person. But I don't know, like, I just don't do... That's me. That's not true at all, actually. I have lots of rich friends. I don't. I'm making out like I hang out with ballers all the time. But, no, here's the thing. I hate rich people who are your typical, like, stereotypical, the home phone's ringing. I'm recording this in my kitchen this week. Really? Who calls home phones anyway? There's no way I'm picking that up. Can you think back? I don't know if you guys can even hear it. Now the answering machine's going off. Anyway, if you couldn't hear that, the home phone just rang. When was the last time that you guys picked up your landline home phone and went, that was a good conversation? It doesn't happen because you never hang up the home phone and be like, guys, I just spoke to Arjib from Optus. He offered it. Like, who signs up to that shit? They call around and try. Who's like... I never sign up to like 2-year plans or 2-year contracts on a whim. And that's really what telemarketers are going for. Like, they call up your house and you're like, hey, we can offer you a cheaper thing. And even if they can, I'm usually just doing other shit. Like, I'm never just waiting around thinking about my current mobile plan and how I could change it. I mean, it must work or else they wouldn't do it. So anyway, what was I talking about? Dude, I legitimately have the memory of a goldfish. Actually, no, goldfish is like 5 seconds, I think it resets. Is that true? I don't know. Who gives a shit? Imagine being that dumb. I don't know. Like, you could never actually learn anything. Like, even if you manage to learn an entire language in 5 seconds, you're just going to forget it again. What's the point? Man, if I was a goldfish, I'd just commit. Although you wouldn't even be able to learn how to commit suicide in 5 seconds. What a terrible life that would be. What am I talking about? Alright, what was I talking about? I was talking about rich people, right, and how I hate stereotypical rich people. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, so Emily took me to Crown. We had a night at Crown in the city, and I was surrounded by rich people. I don't know if I said that earlier. Anyway, we went to Crown, and yeah, I just hate people. Like, I hate snobby rich people, and pretty much the people who stay at 5-star hotels. Because the reason why we stayed there, we're not rich, by the way. I should probably point that out. She actually works at one of the towers in Crown. That's part of her job. So she has a really cool job, and so therefore she gets discounts and stuff there. And, you know, she kind of surprised it on me because we hadn't really celebrated my birthday after the tour because I've been insanely busy ever since. Like, I don't think I had a day off after the tour when I got back. Like, I was planning on having, like, a few days to myself. Just, I don't know, because, like, it kind of was hectic every single day. It's literally every day, bro. Me and Jake Paul, we're very similar. Except I don't exploit 12-year-olds for money, but that's the only difference. I mean, we're very very similar in every other regard because he actually also classifies himself as a comedian. Yes, that doesn't trigger me at all. Like, I was watching one of his vlogs, like researching for the last trending trash I did, and there's one point he grabs an iPhone out of one of his friends' hand, like one of the other Team 10 people. I don't know what the fuck their names are. Anyway, he grabs the phone out of this dude's hand, throws it in the pool, and then the other person obviously goes like, oh, what the hell, that was really mean. And all the comments like, wow, that was pretty mean when he threw the phone. And then the next day, he was like, hey guys, obviously I'm a comedian, that was a fake phone. So, you know, but that's what I do, that's what I do, that's my comedy. And I'm like, dude, that's not, like, a joke, there's a setup, and then a punchline usually, usually in a joke, there's something funny. And that wasn't, I was just confused. I was like, I don't know if that's what comedians, like maybe he doesn't have a Netflix account. I'm like, there's lots of comedy on Netflix. Maybe you should try just watching it before you start throwing out the term. Anyway, this wasn't about Jake Paul. I was talking about the fact that I was busy, and then Emily realized that I actually hadn't had a day off since like 2 months before my tour, and so we hadn't got a chance to celebrate my birthday, so she surprised me with a day out to Crown Casino. Alright, I'm back. And then we went to Bounce, the trampoline park. That's really fun. If you've never been to Bounce, go there. It's just bouncy shit everywhere. Trampoline parks are the best. I've been before, but it's just the best, because like, who doesn't like to be assisted with gravity? Because gravity's a bitch. It's always pulling us down. You know, gravity's like the man, okay? And you always got to fight against the man. And trampolines are your best friend when fighting against gravity. I mean, gravity always wins in the end because you get to a certain point and you just start falling. But there is a brief moment when you're trampolining where you are fucking gravity sideways and it doesn't know what to do because you're going up at an abnormal rate. And then gravity's like, oh no, how come we're not pulling him back to the Earth's core? What's happening? And I'm like, mate, it's called a spring. And you go, boom, and then you do get to the point where the springs go, alright, that's as high as we can get you, and then gravity just throws you back down into a crash mat or whatever safety procedures they've got going on at the trampoline park. But the point is, fuck gravity. Like, I'm so sick of gravity shit. Anyone else with me on this? Like, let's boycott gravity as a podcast. That's what we're going to do. The next live podcast, we're going to do it from space, just so we can not conform to gravity's rules, okay? And we can all get up there, and we'll be up there orbiting, just laughing at everyone else on Earth, just, like throwing stuff and it falls, and we'll be like, haha, do you even float, bro? Do you even float? Can we start a crowdfund just to get this podcast up into space so I can yell out in the megaphone? Oh wait, where is the megaphone? Just so I can get up there. Oh man, I can't find the megaphone. But anyway, just imagine the image of me floating outside a space station attached to a cord, dressed like an astronaut with a megaphone going, do you even float, bro? At Earth. That's worth a crowdfund, I reckon. What am I talking about? This is the second time I've done this. I was like, oh, I wonder if goldfish can kill themselves. And now I'm talking about, do you even float, bro? Oh, man. Anyway, fuck gravity. So I went to Crown, and I'd been to Crown before, like, but in the casino and in, like, you know, the restaurants and stuff, but I'd never actually been to, like, the hotel and stayed. I don't think I've ever stayed in a 5-star hotel before, like, at all, and it was really cool. So, and, you know, because Emily works there, we got, like, the whole, like, champagne sent up to our room, compliments of the manager, like, the whole works, and it was really cool just experiencing, and it kind of hit me. I was like, oh, this is what rich people do every day. This is what rich people experience every day. And it was really cool to do it for 24 hours, but I just could not stop thinking about how boring that would be to be treated like a millionaire, like, every single day, because you just get shit done for you. You don't have to really do anything yourself. Like, you have to turn on the shower and stuff, I guess, yourself. But I bet you some dude's rich enough where he pays someone to do that for him. Like, I always thought the ultimate rich is paying someone to wipe your asshole. Like, if you're someone who, like, I don't think there'd be even a sum you could pay me for that to be my full-time profession. Like, say if I was the dude who was wiping the rich dude's asshole, I don't think I could even pitch a salary high enough that anyone would pay me for. Like, I don't think I'd do it for 10 million a year. And I know you're thinking, like, dude, I would wipe an ass for 10 million a year. I would wipe an ass for 10 million a year, but when people ask you what you do, you can't imagine saying, like, you know, you're out dinner with friends and they go, oh, so what have you been up to, Luke? You know, how's the comedy going? And I'm like, oh, I'm not doing comedy anymore. And they're like, oh, so what are you doing then? And I'm like, oh, I'm actually a bum butler. Like, I moved away from comedy and into professional ass wiping. That's just, like, I don't know if that's a promotion, you know what I mean? Like, even though it's if I was getting paid 10 million a year for it, it'd be a financial promotion, but it's definitely a dignity demotion. And I don't know if I can, stoop that low, because that'd be a weird profession, man. If you were paying $10 million to wipe buttholes, like, or even just one butthole, you would rock up every day, because you would get paying $10 million a year to do that. So you'd rock up every day, like, in a Maserati. You'd throw the keys to the valet. He'd go park your car. You'd walk in through big marble doors, up a velvet staircase with, like, a gold railing, and you'd clock into work. You'd put your suit on, put your bow tie on, and then you'd put a glove on and wipe shit off someone's asshole. Like, it'd be so baller until you're in smelling range. And even until you're looking at it, because some rich guy or girl would have just a filthy butthole. You just know, like, that's why they're rich, because if they're paying you to wipe their butthole, they clearly don't care a lot about hygiene. Man, being a $10 million butt wiper. Why do people listen to this shit? Seriously, like, this podcast rates in the top 100 in iTunes every single week. It got up to, like, 40 this week at one point. I saw it at 40 on the Australian iTunes charts in the comedy section. And this week it'll probably get to 40 or 50 again. And there's going to be some new guy just scrolling down the iTunes charts looking for a new podcast. And he's going to see Memoirs of a White Guy and go, oh, I could go some cheeky white privilege. I wonder what all the heartache and troubles this white guy gets up to every day. Probably not a lot. That's relatable. Then he clicks on this episode, the very top one, and he gets, 13 minutes in, and I'm just talking about being a professional ass wiper. I just feel sorry for him. Because I know you guys understand, and there's a core group of people who are now probably considering the profession of being a professional ass wiper. Like, I know there's a few dead shits with, very low job prospects or career opportunities listening to this podcast, because I read your emails and it's like, hey man, me and my mates did this, and it's like the dumbest fucking thing you'll ever read. So to all the dead shits listening to this podcast, yeah, maybe consider a career in professional ass wiping. I should probably get back to the story that I was telling 10 minutes ago. So where are we up to, right? We're up to Crown. Yeah, it's alright. So there's rich people walking around who look like they have people who wipe their buttholes. I think that's where I left off. Yeah, and just bizarre walking around, and I never do fancy shit, ever. I'm always doing, very I'm not that type of person. Like, even when me and my friends, we walk into, like, bars, and if it's a really fancy bar, pretty much I'll hate every single bar that doesn't have beer on tap. Or, like, if it doesn't have shit on tap, I'll be like, why the fuck would I buy, like, a Corona for $11? You guys know my thoughts on nightclubs. That's pretty much why I hate nightclubs. I'm like, there's nothing on tap. I just want to drink a pot of draft. Is that so hard to ask? Like, anyway, I can't stand fancy places, right? So, like, fancy bars, whatever. But this whole facility is fancy, and it was quite nice to experience what rich people experience. But honestly, I wouldn't want to do it all the time. Like, there was elements of it that I enjoyed. Like, the pool was awesome. There's a shot of it in the new Life of Luke thing, which I'm going to talk about after this. I don't know, like, it was just weird, because I'm like, man, this is what these people do every day. Like, we got out of the pool, and we were leaving. Like, we were going back to our hotel room, and there was a bunch of apples on the desk, like green, and also the most pristine apples. Like, you can tell they were even expensive for apples. Like, I'm more of a Granny Smith man. I won't just eat, like, a premium apple. I don't even know what a premium apple is, because, again, I just like the raw crunch of a Granny Smith, or maybe your regular green ones, right? Anyway, the point is, these, like, pristine apples, I'm like, I'm going to have to... Usually, in the context of me not staying at the hotel, I would have had to sell at least 3 toes for one of these apples. And I just got offered it. She's like, on the way out, she's like, oh, do you guys want an apple? And I just, like, got really nervous, and I was like, oh, for free? And she's like, yeah, it's just an apple. And I'm like, oh, but it's a free apple. And look at them, they're so nice. Like, I just started freaking out over this apple, and she's looking at me like, has he never seen an apple before? And then I realized in that moment, I was like, oh my god, if you're a rich person, you don't have to pay for apples. Like, apples is always a thing that I've considered, like, you hand over money, and then in return, you can get an apple if you want. If you have, like, I don't think apples are that expensive. I don't do the grocery shopping. I'm a child. But the point is, I've only ever eaten apples that my parents or I have paid for. Anyway, the point is, we just kept getting offered free shit. Like, every single time we walked into a new room, it was like, oh, do you want complimentary this? Complimentary champagne? And I was like, dude, how is this place turning a profit? Like, that's why you don't gamble as well, by the way. Like, you walk into the hotel lobby, and there's, like, 50, like, there's big balls, and there's, like, a giant glass staircase that just looks like it's floating up to the sky. And I'm just like, yep, and that's why you don't gamble. Because, alright, how do you think they pay for the water fountain out the front, okay, in Crown Casino? That's why you never bet. Anyway, that's the only reason how they turn a profit, I realized. I'm like, oh, it's people just throwing away their, like, divorce money on the tables, like, on black. Imagine, like, getting a payout and then putting it on red. Fuck your life. Anyway, yeah, so I wanted to tell you all about this thing that I did, and it was just a weird decision I made, and it kind of counteracts what I was talking about at the start of the podcast, whereas, like, people are like, you should do this, and I'm like, no, I don't have to. Sometimes I do the complete opposite thing, and I'll be like, you shouldn't do that, and I'll be like, oh, really? It just to myself, not like I'm being dared. I'll just dare myself to do something, and then I'll go through with my own dare purely just to entertain myself, if that makes sense. So what happened is, I was in the change room, and I knew there was only 2 people in the change room. There was one dude taking a shit in the cubicle in one of the toilet stalls, and I was getting changed, and I just finished putting my last shoe on, and I was about to walk out, and the guy who was taking a shit just let out a really loud fart all of a sudden. It was just like a real... And there was 2 things I could have done. And most people, 99.999% of people, would have heard the fart, and I was already leaving, and just continue leaving, be like, oh, that guy just farted, and then left. And just, got out of there as quick as possible. But, because I'm an idiot, and in my head, sometimes I do little things purely for my own entertainment. Like, I'll just dare myself to do something for no reason other than this will be funny for me and me only. And I guess I didn't really think of it at the time, but I'm like, and then I was like, oh, I'll probably just talk about that on the podcast to make it somewhat worth it. But in the moment, I heard the fart, it was like, brrr, and then I was like, my head just went, you should tell him it's a sick fart. And every single bit of me went, nah, that'd be rude, mean, weird, unnecessary, creepy, all of the above. But then another little tiny bit of me went, this'll be fucking funny. And then I just did it. So he went, brr, and I waited like 3 or 4 seconds, and I went, sick fart. And then I stopped, and I was like, oh. And then I waited, and I could tell he heard it, because he went, huh? I think he thought he was there alone. And then it took him a few seconds, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta leave. He's not gonna say anything. And then just as I was walking out, he went, ha, thanks. And then I just left, and for the rest of the day, he was just like either really embarrassed or really pumped up that someone complimented him on his fart. I have no idea which one it was because I don't know who was in there. But man, if you're listening, it was a pretty sick fart. So, but do you guys ever do that shit? Just entertain yourself for no reason? Like, and sometimes it involves being an asshole. Sometimes it just involves doing something just for you. Where I just did that and I walked out and I was like, huh. Why do I do shit like that? There wasn't an audience there. There was no one in the change room who I could laugh at it with. Like, oh, I told the guy he had a sick fart. I just did it because why not? Because I could. That's a weird as attitude to take on life, I reckon. I don't know. I'm fucking weird, man. Like, anyway, what else do I want to talk about? So hanging out with rich people was cool. Getting given free apples and just, I don't know. I don't think I'd want to live like that. Like, say if I was like got full on rich ever. I don't know. I like to think that I'm just too down to earth, and it's not like I'm like, yeah, man, I'm so like down to earth. I'm more just like, I don't even enjoy doing shit like that. Like, I didn't really enjoy being waited on, and like I put down a dirty towel, and then by the time I got back out of the pool, the guy had changed it with a clean towel, and I was like, dude, it was fine. It was dry. Like, if you want to actually help me, wipe my asshole, okay? I don't need a towel. Alright, anyway, what did I want to talk about next? What's next on my little list? Oh yeah, I got to give a donation update. So during the week, I donated the money that we raised for Tisha's Brain Cancer Fund at the live podcast and through all the t-shirt profits at the website. Unfortunately, like, the t-shirts ended up costing me a lot of money. It cost like, I don't know if I should tell you. Anyway, it cost like over $17 a t-shirt, which is insane, because when you don't order shit in bulk, I probably could have got them cheaper, but I was trying to get them as quick as possible, and I just ended up going whatever. So I hardly made any money from the t-shirts to put towards the donation. But anyway, it was still the same. It was a $5 donation either way, if you donated your money or if you bought a t-shirt. So anyway, we ended up raising $350, which is amazing, and it's such a cool effort. I'm sure the family will be thrilled, and that was a really cool thing we all did. So thank you all, everyone. It's the first good thing I've actually ever done, like, to do with my online following and to do with comedy, and it's the first giving back thing I've really ever done, and it felt really good. So, and I couldn't obviously have done that without you guys. So yeah, your generosity was very much appreciated, and I know what it's like to be like slumming it through school and uni and shit, and I know I really appreciate it. It's really cool that you guys give $5, because I get it, that's a meal, and that's what I think of it as. I'm like, oh, that's a thing at Subway, I could spend that on other shit. But it's cool when you don't, and it makes you feel a little warm inside. It's like when you piss yourself, it's a little warm in there, and so really what we've all done is internally peed our hearts, and that's great. That's a really good feeling. Alrighty, next segment. This one actually is a segment. It's a segment I trialed last week, and I had a fairly good response, although I still haven't seen any Mexican dabs throughout the week. So the deal was, I give you guys all these crazy good ideas, and then you have to go try them out. But I'm seeing a lack of Mexican dabbing, and I didn't have a name for this segment right last week. I just was like, oh, I don't know what to call it, send in ideas, and you guys did, and I think I've settled on a name. I forget who sent it in. I apologize, I don't remember. I think it was on Snapchat. Someone said, call it Why Isn't This a Thing? So that's a really good... I think I said it last week, like in passing when I was doing the segment, and then obviously the person went, well, that should be the name for the segment. So thank you, random person, whoever you are. So yeah, Why Isn't This a Thing? And pretty much it's a segment where I think of crazy good ideas all the time, but just cannot be fucked for the life of me to do anything about them. It might be... Some of these could make you billionaires. I just can't be bothered to do it. And then when you do become a billionaire, pay someone to wipe your asshole, or help me crowdfund the live podcast in space. Two very good options if one of these ideas gets up. So This week's one is here's the thing. I was really unsure. Like last week, I was like, I'm gonna give you all these meme page ideas, right? But this, I don't know anymore. Like, I'm not mad at you guys, but I'm also not happy. You know what I mean? And don't take this the wrong way. It's just, or those people who are in the Facebook group, right? Do you remember the glory days of the Memoirs of a White Guy podcast Facebook group? Man, those first 2 weeks, there was original memes. They were funny. They were relatable. You know, everyone was getting around them, commenting, liking. And what's happened? I mean, it's partly my fault. Maybe I haven't given you guys enough meme material. But if I don't see one ass-wiping meme or one anti-gravity meme during the week, I'll be really disappointed, to be honest. And it's got to the point where people aren't even, like, you know, making memes anymore. They're just, like, sharing in memes. And by the way, not even, like, stealing memes and then re-uploading them. They're just... they're just sharing in memes directly from meme pages, not even downloading them and then uploading them as their own. So if you guys could, you know, make some original memes, put in, because I'm about to give you guys, like, you know, about 5 or 6 awesome meme page ideas, but yet I don't even know if you guys are ready, because the lack of memeing that's even happening in a group specifically for memes is insane. I mean, pick up your game. I really hope a few of you do step up. And don't, you know, I know this pep talk might have beaten some of you down who have shared stuff in the group and not got it posted and stuff, but look back on what you posted and was it really, you know, up to scratch? Was it your best work? Did you really meme hard? Or did you even think hard about the post? I think we've all just gotten lazy, and it's a bit me as well. I've probably dropped my meme game in the group a bit, and I'm going to do my best to pick it up this week. I'll try and make a fresh, maybe anti-gravity meme. We'll see what we come up with, but yeah, I mean, can we just try and, you know, step it up this week, guys, and in weeks to come? I just think we've all lapsed a bit in the meme game, and the only reason I'm bringing up this concern is I'm about to drop all these awesome meme page ideas on you, and, you know, I expect some of them to get made. Okay, so this one, this week for Why Isn't This a Thing? These are all the meme page ideas that I've just, sometimes whenever I think of an awesome meme page, like I'll just note it down in the notes on my phone, even though I know I can't be bothered to start up a meme page or be an admin of one. But it doesn't mean I don't like dabbling in the meme game. So, yeah, here we go. Here's my meme page ideas. Also, if you like one, go ahead and make it. These are royalty-free meme page ideas. I don't want any revenue from the page. I just want to see some dope memes. Alright, the first one is aggressive memes for aggressive teens. I don't think I've seen it anywhere. I don't know why that's not a thing. It's just really aggressive memes. That one's pretty self-explanatory. The next one is cool memes about cool beans. So it'd be primarily a bean, like an edible bean focused, or it could even be about, like, you know, special beans. You could post Jack and the Beanstalk memes. Anyway, just cool memes about cool beans. Also pretty self-explanatory about the type of content that you'd be posting on that meme page. This one's spicy memes for bedridden teens. Now, I do believe it has been pointed out to me since that there is I think there's a similar one, like polio-ridden teens. Maybe that's where I got that one from. So, you know what? Maybe let's get rid of that. Maybe I accidentally stole that one. I don't want to Jackson O'Doherty anyone on the internet. This one is one of my favorites. It's called Unrelatable Memes. So, it's like Christmas memes posted in August. Or like Easter memes posted at Christmas. Or anything just unrelatable. So say if you look at your audience demographic and you've got a lot of white people from the UK, Australia, US, you just post a meme about what it's like to be starving in Africa, and it's incredibly unrelatable because we all live in the first world. So just unrelatable memes. I reckon that's a real winner. So if someone wants to make that during the week, or even just maybe post an unrelatable meme in the Facebook group, and we can maybe vote to see which one of these meme pages should be made. Here's another one. This one I'm quite excited about because I do think it's got longevity and potential to become one of, like, the leading shit meme pages on Facebook. And it's called Ancient Third World Memes for Modern First World Teens. And what you'd be posting is mainly just meme content related to poverty in medieval times or ancient Egypt. So say if you find a homeless dog in ancient Egypt up in the hieroglyphics, you make a meme about it, and obviously, as it says in the title, it's targeted to first world teens, because the only people who would find ancient third world memes funny is modern first world teens. And I think right there, even in the title, it's rhyming, so that's always good for a meme page, and you've got what kind of memes you're going to be posting and your target audience. So modern first world teens are going to be like, oh, I'm a modern first world teen and I like ancient third world memes. Boom, like. And that's how you generate that reach. All right. So you guys, man, I can't believe I'm giving you this shit for free. You guys should be paying for these. This is an absolute meme goldmine. And this is 6 months of, I think I started this note probably about 6 months ago in my phone. And, I've only got 7 or 8 ideas, and that's one of them. So I only come up with strokes of genius like that probably once a month. So don't just dismiss that, and have a laugh and go, oh, wouldn't that be a funny meme page? Go ahead and make it, please, because I really can't be bothered. This is another one. This is the last rhyming one, and then I've got to explain the other ones because they're a bit in-jokey, but I feel like it could amount into something else. This is the last rhyming one. Oriental memes for Western teens. Now, if you ignore the obvious racism, I feel like Oriental teens could still... But maybe you can make an opposing one where you do Western memes for Oriental teens and Asians can have a laugh at our culture. Either way, I think both are going to get a lot of hate, but if you're willing to cop hate from the haters, then I think you could grow that into a pretty steadily performing meme page. So there's one more, right? But in order to explain this meme page to you, I have to explain a 3-month in-joke meme that's been occurring in my life that I haven't brought up yet on the podcast because I didn't want to... here's the thing. I know when I bring up shit like this, it's all my Snapchat's going to be for the next 3 months. So I have to make a calculated decision of preparing myself for that onslaught. And, because the fat bird thing, I still receive maybe... It's slowed down a bit in the last couple of weeks, but for a bit there I was receiving, and no joke, probably about 20 to 30 pictures or videos or fatbird related content throughout all my social medias, like Snapchat, comments on YouTube, comments on Instagram, videos and photos on Instagram, message to my Facebook page, the whole lot, it was all fatbird related. And I think I'm willing to, this mightn't catch on and it might be fine, but I just have to always consider the fact that whatever I bring up may be the thing that I get sent for the next fucking month. And you know what? This thing, if it got sent to me for a month, I would just probably lose my mind laughing every time. So, what the in-joke is, I forget how it even started. Alright, I think it was a me and Lewis thing. It was on the tour. All these shitty in-jokes start on the tour. And this happened after the Weet-Bix joke. So this is when the Weet-Bix meme was dying out. If you're not familiar with the Weet-Bix in-joke, go listen to the last podcast that I was on, Lewis's one, Spearhead Sundays. Man, I can't even be bothered to explain it. So we talk about it for like 10 minutes on that podcast. So after the Weet-Bix thing started dying out, at one point I went and bought a muffin from 7-Eleven. We both went and bought muffins. And for some reason, I was like, oh, we're going to get a cheeky muff. And then Lewis laughed because we were overtired. And then as we were kind of walking home eating our muffins, we started speculating whether or not a muffin could be in fact cheeky or naughty, or if it was a misbehaving muff. And then we decided... This is only funny for me, I just realised. We decided that if you did happen to come across a muff that you have reason to think that it has been sitting there at the 7-Eleven or at the bakery being naughty and or misbehaving, the only appropriate punishment for this muffin was to give it a smack to teach it a lesson. Because I think muffins have had it too good for too long, if you ask me. They've been walking around being cheeky all over the place, and finally, you guys probably think this is just, yes, it's a bit of a stupid in-joke, but at the same time, we're on a crusade here trying to teach muffins a lesson, and And yeah, so, and also, by the way, not all muffins are cheeky. I should point this out. I mean, for those, new to this, whole thing of even the possibility that a muffin could be considered naughty, I'm telling you they can, but not all of them. It's only some of them. And also, if you find a well-behaved muff, or a law-abiding muff, as we call it, give it a pat. Always pat a good muff before you eat it. Oh, man. I don't think you get it. I don't know, I shouldn't even be talking about this on the podcast, to be honest, but opening a Snapchat and it being the shot of someone's hand slapping a muffin is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I've cried laughing before, to the point where Lewis and I's girlfriends, like Jazz and Emily, they think we are insane. Like, I'll just blatantly buy a muffin purely so I can slap it and send it to Lewis, and then he will cry laughing and do exactly the same thing back, and they're just like, why is you backhanding a muffin the funniest thing in the world? And because it's naughty. Like, you can't let it get away with it. Oh, so if you guys can... actually, can we just... I'm going to end this. I'm going to stop talking about this. And obviously, it's going to probably come up maybe in the future. But can you guys just... just do it for me. Can you just... If you have a muffin during the week, just give it a backhanded slap and send it to Lewis without any context. Just if a bunch of people just start sending him pictures of hitting muffins... Can we just do that for me? Like, even though you guys don't even understand the in-joke, can you just do this for me? Like, as just being a really good bloke and contributing to this shit meme. Just, if you see a muffin, give it a backhanded slap. And yeah, that's it. Alright, I'm going to stop talking about it, or I'm going to start crying with laughter. And this podcast does not need me talking about muffins for any longer that have been misbehaved. Alright. Isn't it just the funniest thing, though? Just because it's food, and it's like, why are you slapping it? Oh my god. Sorry, I've got tears, and I had to wipe my glasses. So, not many people know I have reading glasses, and whenever I, cry laughing, I have to take them off. Anyway, sorry. I should cut this out, but whatever. This is an unprofessional podcast. If I really cared about this shit, I wouldn't have bought up muffins in the first place. Alright, The Bachelor's back, and we need to give a sweep update. So last week, if you didn't hear last week's podcast, I started the very first annual Memoirs of a White Guy Bachelor sweep. There's 22 people in it. Now there's actually more contestants. I've got to tell you about that. But yeah, there's 22 people in it, and already 3 people are out. 3 girls went out during the week. It's pretty rough. Some people weren't happy. It was very interesting to watch, man. Pretty much, I feel like they should be paying me to, I've gotten so many of you to watch this shit unwillingly. You don't want to even watch the show, but you want to understand the shit jokes on this podcast. They should be paying me for this shit. Anyway, so, the people who got out were, I was trying to find the list. Oh, yeah. So, the girls who got out on the show, the Bachelorettes who are already out of the competition, are Monica, Stacey, and Laura Ann. And I'm looking at the pictures of these girls, and I'll be honest, I don't even remember them being in the show. I remember Laura Ann, because I think she was the one who looked like Kim Kardashian, but Stacey, I could honestly say, I bet you she was in there. Dude, she looks like every other chick who's in this competition. Stacey is blonde, and I can honestly say I've never seen this girl in my life. I don't recognize her. Yet she was in the show. Oh, she was the Miss Personality girl. She had this sash on that said Miss Personality. And she fucking wonders why she got knocked out first round, you dumbass. Alright, so the people who had Monica, Stacey, and Laura Ann were... So these people are out. Gemma Holland, you had Laura Ann. I'm sorry you're out. Stacey, Sophie Scott, unfortunately you're out, Sophie. And who had Monica? It was Dylan McFadzine. So you're out, and yeah, good luck to you. And also, we've got to talk about, I feel bad for the, girls who've got Ash, Leah, and Kieran. You've got Jennifer and Leah, and they're totally the bitches. And I'm pretty sure last week I said you can't judge a book by its cover, and I was pretty sure I was like, oh, Jennifer's in with a shot. Jennifer's the bitch of the show. She's like, every year they put in one psycho. She's the psycho. She didn't come off as a psycho. I said she was boring. She's not boring. She's just fucking... Like, dude, she's super mean. To the point where it's totally fake. Like, there's no way anyone's that mean to someone they've just met. Like, the producers must be offering her extra money, or must have said to her, the reason why you're on this show is to stir up shit in this mansion with the other girls. Because there's no one's... I truly don't believe anyone could be that mean. Because the type of conversations that, if you don't watch the show, that these girls are having to each other, usually about nothing, but occasionally they'll just blatantly be like to each other, I really don't like you, and they'll be all sassy and stuff. And you wouldn't say that. I don't reckon you'd actually yell at a person, I don't like you, get away from me. The person who you'd known for like 2 days. I just don't think I could do that to anyone. It'd just be too awkward. I mean, I would say to them that was a sick fart, but I wouldn't I wouldn't tell them I hate them to their face. To the point where this is definitely fake. But yeah, that's my Bachelor update. It was a very interesting first 2 episodes, man. I was so super excited it's back. It's what's really sad? I'm caught up on The Bachelor, but I'm already behind on Game of Thrones. Like, I've started prioritizing The Bachelor over Game of Thrones. I'm 2 episodes already. I missed this morning's episode because I was doing shit, and now I'm already 2 episodes behind, but I'm fucking up to date on The Bachelor. So that's where my life's at. That's about it, guys. What else do I have to talk? Do I have anything else to talk about? I've already ranted about too much shit this week. This week's podcast has just been about actually fucking nothing. What have I talked about? Cheeky muffs, a goldfish committing suicide, and ass wiping. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. It's Memoirs of a White Guy. What do you expect? You guys listen to this shit every single week. Which, by the way, I cannot thank you enough for. It's a lot of fun doing this podcast. I quite enjoy it. So, dude, I think that's it. I mean, I could rant more about how much I hate rich people, but I just can't be bothered. Like, I just feel like I didn't talk about it enough. I didn't get it off my chest. Like, I was trying to be funny before, but like in a really super non-funny way, I was really appreciative and like in awe. I was like, oh my god, free champagne, like this hotel room's so cool, look at the view. And I was like, never done anything cool like that before. And I was looking around and people just were walking around headphones in at a 5-star hotel, like looking miserable, like going down to the pool, sitting in a deck chair, because I was like, what kind of fucking life is this? Like, yes, you people have like physical wealth, but they weren't happy. Like, they were sad, sad people. And like, imagine being so rich that you had an awesome car, awesome thinger, and then you had like no one to share it with, like no mates. You could just tell these people, but got rich from being, pretty ruthless and being an asshole in business or whatever, and they got to the top, and then they got to the top and went, oh, so this is what it's like, and now I have nothing else to live for, and they're just walking around being rich. Like, I reckon, like, being rich is, like, almost a lifestyle. Well, obviously it is, but like, being rich is, like, a definite choice you can make. Like, you can be wealthy, have a lot of money, but not be rich. You don't have to act like a baller. Like, you can buy a sweet car. You can even buy, like, a mansion, but then you go home and you wipe your own asshole. And that's the difference between being, like, nice and wealthy and fuck off rich. Anyway, I just think I'm going to wrap up the podcast there. Oh, actually, I want to talk about it. I don't really talk about, like, gigs much and stuff. And, people often ask me, why don't you advertise the gigs I do around town, around Melbourne and stuff? And to be honest, it's because I'm usually working on new material and I want you guys to see the finished product at the comedy festival whenever I'm doing a show at the end of the year. And I'm usually only doing 5-10 minutes of a spot, and it's not really worth your time coming out to see it, to be honest. And also, I do like 2 or 3 nights, so it's not like I can hang around. I usually get off stage, hop in my car, drive to another gig, get on stage, practice the joke again, then get off. You know what I mean? Like, it's my work, and it's like if someone came to your workplace, it's a bit fucking annoying. So that's why I don't advertise my gigs and stuff, because I'm really just trying to work as hard as I can and make the material best for my show, and that's when I want you guys to see it. But this week, I'm actually doing something quite cool, and I thought I might as well tell you guys about it in case you were interested, and if you're in Melbourne. So I'm hosting the Comics Lounge all week. So if you don't know what the Comics Lounge is, I think I've spoken about it before on the podcast. It's Melbourne's biggest, it's definitely Australia's biggest comedy club. It seats like 500, 600 people on a Saturday. It got voted in the top 10 comedy clubs in the world, like even amongst the American ones. Like I think it's number 7. It's the 7th best comedy club in the world, and usually to host it, like you have to have been doing comedy for 5 to 10 years. Like you have to be a really experienced comedian. And, you know, okay, so I don't want to sound arrogant, but, like, it's a little bit of a big deal of what's happening, and, like, you know, it's very cool. Anyway, it's very cool, the opportunity that I've gotten, so I thought if you're in Melbourne and you missed my Melbourne Comedy Festival show for some reason at the start of the year, or you just got into my stuff now, and, you know, lots of people say, when can I check you out live? Come down to the Comics Lounge from Wednesday to Saturday. I'll be there every night. So I'm the MC, which is the host. So I like come on, do like 20 minutes at the start, and then keep on doing material throughout some of the opening acts, and then I announce the headliner on, etc. But so throughout the night, I should be doing about 35 minutes of material maybe, so that's quite a large portion of my show. It's always a great night. The other comedians are sweet. Neil Kolhatkar is headlining, so if you know Neil from online stuff too, he's great. So yeah, it'd be a good night out. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. If you guys wanted to come, that's the thing I'm doing this week. This week I've got like 8 or 9 gigs. It's like something stupid. Tonight I've got 2 in preparation. Tomorrow night I'm doing the lounge as well, and I've got another gig beforehand. Like I'm super busy at the moment. And I've also got to do the Bachelor video, which I filmed half of it last night. I got to film the second half, edit it by Wednesday. Holy shit, now I'm stressing. I've also got to do the second episode of Trending Trash by Monday, because I'm going overseas on Monday. And don't worry, I'm only going for like a week. I just genuinely need a week off. So I'm super excited about that. I'm going to Fiji, which is going to be cool. But fuck, I've got so much shit to do. I've got to do 3 videos. 9 gigs, and and the hosting is like quite demanding. Oh fuck! I've also got to send off t-shirts as well, because all the t-shirts should come this week. I'm screwed. I've just realized I'm screwed. I need to finish this podcast and start doing shit. So yeah, that's the end of this podcast. If you want to come to the lounge this week, definitely come down. It should be a fun week. Hectic for me, but fun for you. You just guys get to drink and listen to dick jokes. But yeah, so if you're in Melbourne and you missed my comedy festival show, I'll be there all week. I don't really advertise gigs pretty much ever, so now will be a good time if you want to come see me. That's about it. Also, I started Life of Luke yesterday. So Life of Luke is a new YouTube channel I'm doing. I wanted to separate the 2 channels. You know, some people are like, why don't you just upload it as a series on your main channel? I just thought some people aren't into that kind of style. So it's pretty much like a vlog channel, but in a bit of a weird way. Like, just see it when you watch it. It's not like me going, yo guys, what's poppin'? Like, it's not that kind of, you know, I don't film myself like, today I'm going to this. Like, I kind of just film what I'm already doing. So my idea for it was, you know, a few people have kind of fucking triggered me. Anyway, there was a comment that was like, ew, so you're becoming a vlogger now? No, like, I'm vlogging. I would say, like, I'm vlogging, but I'm not a vlogger. There's a difference, because a vlogger is just someone who just vlogs. That's all they do. Like, that's what's always confused me about vlogging. They don't actually do anything except for vlog. So it's like, today I'm vlogging, and then they just film what they do, and they do shit just because they're filming it. They're like, today we're going to like a whatever, just because I need something to film. But what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to start video logging, which is what vlogging means, of shit I'm already doing. So like, say if I'm filming behind the scenes of the video, I'm going to be like, you know, out there just starting to film, you know, film behind the scenes. We'll put in bloopers. I'm going to put in stand-up footage. I'm just going to, you know, film more shit. Like, I filmed a bit about in Crown, and me and Emily went to the trampoline park, filmed some stuff like that. Just random things I do. So if you like this podcast, and if you follow me on Snapchat, it's pretty much a combination of both. I'd love it if you went and checked it out. It's called Life of Luke. Just go on my main channel, and you'll be able to see the video announcing it. And yeah, I think it's already at 1,000 subscribers, which is really cool. So thank you all very much. I had a lot of positive feedback from it. There's just always like some teenage dude, and it's only ever dudes. It's like, dudes like, dude, I can't accept change. Like, they're like, dude, are you becoming a vlogger? I used to like you, man. I used to like you. I used to respect you as a comedian. And I'm like, dude, nothing's changed. All that's changed is I'm just offering you extra content. So I was already, you know, doing all those things. I just decided to start filming it. You know what I mean? Like, nothing changes at all. I'm just going to film myself being a comedian. And if you want to watch it, then great. I hope you enjoy it. I think it's quite funny. I think it's quite interesting as well. But that's why I made it on an extra channel. So if you're not interested in that shit at all, that's fine. Keep watching my regular content. Keep listening to the podcast. That's why it's on a separate channel. Don't involve yourself with that shit. But if it seems like something you might be interested in, I'd love it if you went and checked out the first episode. And yeah, that's about it. Life of Luke is a thing. That's a new project. New episode of Trending Trash. Oh yeah, can you guys help me with this week's episode of Trending Trash? So, I'm really just screwed, to be honest. I've written like half of it. To be honest, there's not a lot's happened this month on the internet. Is that just me? Like, I've thought of the hot dog meme. There's a little bit about Jake Paul I could keep talking about because he got arrested, but I don't want to keep talking about him and Logan. It just gets old. I don't really know. Like, can you guys send me shit to talk about? Like, I'll write the jokes about it. Can you guys just, if you've seen a big thing that maybe I've missed on the internet this month, feel free to send it to me because I'm really, like, don't have enough content for this month's Trending Trash, and it's supposed to be out by the end of this week. So that'd be a huge help to get through my hectic week. Thank you all very much for listening. If you're in Melbourne, come to the lounge if you want. Let me know if you're coming on Snapchat, and we can hang out after. I don't know, I'll probably be busy, but just, let me know. I'm sure I'll be able to come say hi. And yeah, cool. Thanks very much, guys. See you next week.